Hello everybody, it's Alexis, and today we are here with a quick tutorial on how to paint a brunette lock of hair. This is a watercolor tutorial, and I'm going to be making this entire painting using only water, and then red, blue, and yellow paints. This is the Winsor & Newton Professional set. I'm going in with my pencil and lightly sketching out a curly lock of hair. And then I like to erase as much as I can while still being able to see the sketch, since your watercolor will trap the graphite beneath it. Then I'm using a palette knife to mix on palette paper. As you can see, I'm just using Winsor blue. I think I'm using alizarin crimson and lemon yellow. And we're going to mix a nice brown shade. This is coming up a bit red. And I'm going to be filling in the entire lock of hair with this kind of base toner shade. You could be working wet on wet. I am working wet on dry. I think wet on wet might have been a little bit more successful here, since you're seeing some of the streakiness here, and the wet on wet would have helped to avoid that. So I'm just going in and I'm laying in all these colors. I'm kind of being careful to not let my paints bleed too much. It's important to remember that if you're doing what I'm doing now and you're doing wet on dry, to not apply your water directly onto the paper. Instead, make sure that the water is absorbed on either a piece of paper towel, or you rub it against the side of your water container, because if you have a big glob of water on your paper, it could dry unevenly and create blooms. So I'm showing you an example of what this is going to look like. I'm mixing a very dark tone here and using hair-like strokes. I'm going to be covering all of this up, but I just wanted to show you a little bit of what that looks like. The biggest note for painting a lock of hair like this is to keep your hand moving in the direction that the hair is moving / growing / falling. So, as you can see here, there's no lines that are straight up and down. You also want to keep your lines organic and not too rigid or of equal size and weight. Unlike other heavier body mediums like acrylic or oils, watercolor requires you to work lightest to darkest, since it is so transparent. So I'm not using any white to lighten these colors. I'm just using water to dilute the pigments. A lot of this video is just going to be layering and layering colors on top of each other from lightest to darkest. It's kind of entering what I call the ugly stage right now, where it doesn't really look like much of anything, but you can just keep going and it will turn out better as you continue adding your values. So keep moving your hand in the direction that the hair is moving. I'm filling in these shadowy areas where the lock of hair is not facing the viewer. It's kind of the back part of the hair. Those are going to be darker. I like to block them in first just because it gives me kind of visual anchor points of where the hair is growing and where the spiral of the hair is kind of laying. So I'm adding some more darker tones here. I'm using yellow to make the hair a little bit more of a brown, and then the blue makes it a little bit more purple, which is helpful for the shadow tones. Here you can see we're already starting to build up the values. It's important not to paint every individual strand. Think of the hair in clumps. That's why I'm doing this lock of hair instead of just individual hairs. We will be adding some individual hair strands for details at the end, but for now, just think of it like a big ribbon. This process would be similar for other colors of hair. Black hair, blonde hair, colorful hair, it would all be the same. I could do another video in the future for different hair textures, but I thought this would be just a good starting point. So here I'm going in with a more purpley mixture, and I'm doing those shadowy tones. The paint will dry later, so I do have to come in and layer quite a bit. I like to make sure my layers are mostly dry to the touch before I add the next layer. Otherwise, we might be getting some strange blooming effects that we don't want here. this whole process took me about half an hour. It is sped up 4 times, so you could slow down the video if you would like to see the process in a slower, closer to real time. But I think you can get the gist from this more sped up version. Alright, so here we are adding more values. You can see that the more you build up these tones, the more realistic it's going to look. It does look a little bit artificial right now, but we can fix that up with some flyaways. I'm doing all of this. I think this is my size 0 round brush. You could absolutely use lots of different types of brushes. You could use a mop brush to do that base toner color. I did this all with one brush just to show you that it's possible, it's doable, but you could get really cool effects using many different brushes. But you could absolutely make this work like I am with just the 3 primary colors, water, and 1 brush. You know, it's definitely doable. So here we are adding the darkest darks. These are a little bit too bluish, so I am gonna go back in and kind of tone these down just a little bit. You never want to use just straight black because a lot of black pigments have an undertone of another color, usually like a blue or a green, and that will kind of dull your painting down or give you a strange like cast of color. So if you want to mix a black, you can mix all of the primary colors together and not use much water, and it will get you a very like rich dark color, not necessarily jet black, but pretty close. So here I am just kind of buffing out that really dark color by using a lighter color and trying to lift a little bit of that darkness and replace it with the lighter colors. Oh, so here I am using just the toe of the brush, and we're getting those little flyaway hairs so it looks a little bit more realistic. You could absolutely go in and add even more details, but this is the general result. So thank you for watching. Good luck!